Next, we've got Demystifying NFTs in Sport, Vincent, Will, and Klemen. So welcoming those to the stage.
He's also going to that. Sorry? Yeah.
Nice. We have a surprise guest.
I'm back.
He's back. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Will, and I'm a lawyer at Bird & Bird. I know you don't see enough lawyers in crypto, so you're obviously delighted to see me. Today we're talking about demystifying sports NFTs, and what we're really talking about is, looking at some of the activity that's going on in the sports NFT space, but also a bit of a deeper dive into some of the issues. So if you're a crypto company acquiring rights, or you're a rights holder, what are some of the sort of prerogatives behind what you're doing, and how has the landscape changed since the start of the sort of crypto boom? And I'm delighted to be joined by Vince, by Klemen, and by Ty as well.
Thanks.
So, I mean, we know a bit about you already, but Klemen, why do you want to introduce yourself?
Vince, yeah.
Sorry. Vince, sorry.
Hey, everyone. I'm Vince. I work for a company called OneFootball. We are one of the biggest football apps in the world when it comes to news, stats, and everything that the football fans want, around their fandom. We started 14 years ago in the Web 2 space. We mostly on mobile, and about a year and a half ago, we started ushering into the Web 3 world. We have a big user base. We have a lot of first-party data on the fans. We, deliver directly, really concise content to these users, and we see a lot of value in Web3 and the products that it can bring and the value proposition that we can build on top of this technology. So we're just making our way into this. We launched in August, and right now we're building.
Klemen?
So my name is Klemen, and I'm coming from the sports world, from football background. Previously working for Paris Saint-Germain and Inter Milan, but I am the co-founder of a project called Bollis, and we are the project that was sold out on Crypto.com. We are partners with them, and now we are building the gaming platform to onboard new millions of, let's say, Web 2 gamers to Web 3 space seamlessly.
Thanks, Klemen. And Ty, for the benefit of those who didn't see your fantastic talk earlier, can you introduce yourself briefly? Is that okay?
For sure, yeah. Thank you for letting me crash. I wanted to keep talking a little bit. My name is Tyler Schmidt. I'm here from New York City. I work for the last 9 years for a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, in kind of his office, and have just been a part of really the agency, which had a tremendous amount of growth. We have an office here in London. I was just visiting. We have a sports agency called Vayner Sports, where we represent a lot of American football players, some baseball players, MMA, etc. And really, that journey was we were really aggressive early on in terms of bringing brands into social. My first account I ever worked on Facebook was Brisk Iced Tea. There was no video on Facebook, and there was no paid media on Facebook. And we were posting on Instagram, and it kind of feels like just a similar cycle all over again of a lot of people saying that's dumb, and then one day at a time, one more person gets on board and gets on board and gets on board. So it's been a fun journey. Yeah.
Excellent, thanks, Ty. I should also add that part of the reason I'm here is because I do a lot of work with rights holders, crypto companies, platforms, etc., helping them to devise NFT strategies, but also on the implementation side around rights acquisition deals, etc., and implementation afterwards. Vince, I was going to turn to you first. So when I first started working in NFTs in earnest was probably at the time that Top Shots was really starting to take off. And the perception certainly at the time was, if you're a rights holder, you look at it and go, add another zero, thanks very much, here are your rights. And just interested to get your perspective on how the landscape and sort of doing deals in sports NFTs has changed in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think when we started this was just as the peak of Top Shot, and just also maybe as a quick background, we also building on Flow, we also building with Dapper, and we have a similar value proposition. We're building digital VD moments for football. We have the Serie A rights and Bundesliga, so some of the major European football rights. And so when we started this journey, it was a lot about education. It was a lot about, people, first of all, understanding what we want from them in terms of when it comes to rights. And if I really see the progression, it was a lot about the people, like, make them understand what we actually need from them, right? In the beginning, we casted a very wide net. We were able to acquire an insane amount of rights, specifically also for football players. We have 27 of the biggest football players under contract, and you have all these like rights from avatar to videos or social media posts, and then it evolved more and more into people understanding what they actually are giving away, and what is expectation and revenue that will be made behind this. And so it became much clearer to them, and it took way longer also to figure out at the end what you will get and what you will get for it, right? So instead of saying you can have everything, they kind of said like, what do you want, and how do you want to kind of like use it? And so this is really the ongoing cycle, I think, at the moment that we see.
I think that certainly resonates with my experience, where it's not the case that necessarily deal activity has fallen off. It's just that deals are taking longer to do, because both sides of the table are taking a lot longer to rationalize and think through how this fits into their broader digital strategies, for example. And then if you're acquiring rights, it's right, what are we really going to do with these? And Klemen, from your background in particular, what sort of it's a very competitive landscape. And if you are a rights holder looking to sell NFT rights, you're not now just looking at numbers on the page. You're also looking at what is this actually going to be a compelling proposition for fans? What sort of things do you think fans are looking for now, or rights holders are looking for their potential sponsors, partners to be doing with the rights that they're given?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's about fan engagement, and it's about some perks that they can get, But also, I believe community, it's important. So if we are looking at Bolly's project, let's say, because I'm the most familiar with, our community is vibrant community, and they are talking about sports, they are talking also about other things, all around this topic of Bolly's basketball. And let's say for us, when we were discussing possibilities with whom we should partner up, for us, Crypto.com was the perfect fit at the end of the day, because they are investing a lot into sports. They're having different kind of perks that we can use with them, let's say Crypto.com Arena and so on. This for our holders is so important, because now they can attend some games and we can have different kind of activations for them. Without Crypto.com, yeah, it would be possible, but it would be a bit different. So I believe this is the thing that we should be looking at, so synergies on both sides.
Thanks. And Ty, just to pick up something you were talking about in the previous session, about particularly your background and interest from a collectibles perspective, do you think that collectibles will always be at the heart of sports NFTs? Or do you think actually that broader utility, that there is room for other use cases within sports NFTs?
For sure on the latter. I think that's almost the beautiful thing, is that, to me, just about everything can be a collectible, right? I went to the Arsenal match, I have the game day booklet. I'm going to take that home. But now, and probably the first thing that's done is you open up your phone, you go on Instagram, you take a story, you post on Instagram story, here's the booklet to show to the world, this is who I am, this is my identity, I went to the match, I'm here in London, and then people, okay, signaling, that's who that person is. But now, if that becomes, say, a digital good, you have a digital ticket on the blockchain to the match, you scan to go in, immediately, boom, the club is able to be the publisher. Now they're not even working with a third-party printer. They're able to publish, boom, drop you directly the match day booklet. And then they can have their own platform. That is, you have every match day booklet from this season, verifying that you went to the game. Boom, they'll give you 2 free tickets to next season. To me, all of those things are still collectibles. You still, and that's why, again, Instagram, I think, is so big in what they're rolling out with, being able to share collectibles, because now you can post it directly. You're not taking a photo of a physical good. You're sharing a digital good directly out, identifying, telling your story, who you are, which is so much of what's done here. Video right here, right? Like, that's going to go out as content. So I think it's actually, the beautiful thing is now you're able to have collectibles digitally that can just have utility immediately built into them, through the smart contract. So it's unlocking, the World Cup stickers is a huge thing right now, right? And a lot of people are going around doing that. Like, previously, a cereal box, you cut out 5 things from the cereal box, you send it in, you get a toy. There's just a lot of efficiencies and money that can be cut out, middlemen that can be cut out, which then those dollars, hard costs that would go in there, can funnel back into further engaging the fans. So to me, I really see it as both, to be frank. Like, I do think there's a collectible, there is a collectible strategy within your ticketing. You think about the 1994 World Series ticket, right? It was like beautiful design, what have you. What then started to creep in is, we can put an advertisement on there. We can make more money off of this thing. And then everything became Ticketmaster. Now you print the thing out, and it's like one little barcode and like ads everywhere. And I think you can start to cut out a lot of that stuff and get back to, okay, these are collectibles. Let's pair with a local artist out of Arsenal for tonight's Europa League match. That artist may go on to become incredibly famous, and Arsenal can make 10% on that being sold, back, instead of placing an ad directly on the ticket. So I think the pairing of everything being a bit collectible while having just unique utility to it is really powerful.
And thanks, Ty. Vince, does that resonate with OneFootball? And actually, partly what I'm interested in is you were saying that how in early days it was easy to get sort of blanket rights to do a lot of different things. And what are some of the more compelling areas of utility that you perceive within sports NFTs?
I really, what you said really resonates with me as well, right? I mean, because we are in the space, for so long, and we know, the fan identity beforehand. I think Web3 is going to be the natural progression. If I'm a collector, right now, Top Shot is something for collectors, right? But maybe I'm also the biggest collector of AC Milan. Maybe that tells my story, right? Or you can just quantify user actions, right? For example, what we want to integrate is that through our app, you can basically just say, what was the best moment that you saw this weekend? And whoever votes for it, like a Ballon d'Or, right? This we will mint as legendary or something like this. So actually, our motto is no one gets you closer, but how do you actually do that with this technology? And I think identity is going to be one of the biggest plays in that sense. And, an NFT is kind of like the social currency on this identity path that you will kind of create. So for me, this is the one path, and then your identity itself will unlock, this utilities. And I know everybody talks utility, community, and that. I mean, we have a huge community already. It's not as easy as turning on a button and just convert them over to Web3, because you really need to have a great value proposition. But what we see works a lot is we have tickets to, for example, 300 tickets like every weekend to Serie A. We have merchandise that is signed. Where else do you buy this, right? On secondary markets, right? So we also become, through our products, like an official vendor on how you basically get access to it. And we can also kind of attach the framework around how you unlock it, right? So you need to own XYZ to get this, and everybody has a different profile also as a fan. To be honest, I don't really care about too much in real life assets, but give me another pack, give me another other thing. This is what excites me, right? And so I think all this kind of plays together and will tie in, and and with this technology now, we are able to kind of see where the journey is going. And right now, for me, it's more about getting infrastructure out, build strong infrastructure, and then really work on your value proposition and product market fit, so you can achieve these other milestones along the way, and make also the normal fan who doesn't care about blockchain, to really understand what the value of this technology is at the end.
And do you think, and this is something that sort of springs to mind from again on the same sort of theme, is that there is a sort of inherent tension, I suppose, between if you're looking to acquire rights in an area that's developing so quickly, you think, right, well, we need as blank a canvas as we can possibly get. And so we need as many rights as we can possibly acquire because we don't know where this is going to go. And to maximize value, we need to have the full sort of suite of utility available to us. But then if you're a rights holder, you think, well, we don't know where this is going to go. So do we necessarily want to put, whereas 3 years ago you might have given away all of your blockchain rights, and then you might have given away all of your NFT rights. Now it's going to be just my video NFT rights. How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I think this is one of the major challenges, right? It's really the unknown. It's really the features we're going to build in the future. Do we have the right licenses to go down like a certain path? I remember I was sitting with La Liga, one of the biggest leagues also in the world, and we were pitching for metaverse rights, and they had no idea what we were talking about, right? And so at the end, it's going to be difficult to see like right from the get-go as this technology is progressing so fast, and also the different rights are evolving and the technology as well, to know what you need, and if your right is either like dynamic, that it can shift and it's a little bit more in, okay, I can do a little bit of a pivot here, or it is additive, right? But if it's too restrictive, then you're kind of like forced to go down a certain path, and in a market that is evolving so quickly, I see that as a challenge because we've been literally facing this before.
Thanks, Vince. And Klemen, we were talking beforehand about your plans for Borleys and potentially looking to do partnerships, tie-ins with real-world sports brands. And looking at this through the other end of the telescope, I suppose, what would be, aside from having some valuable rights in your game and on your platform, what would you be looking for from a partner? So what would a good rights holder be looking to do with, partnering with you, aside from letting you use their IP?
This is something that I was, I believe, talking before. So what we are looking is how we can connect the communities, or let's say brand awareness on one side with our community. Is this through, let's say, some merchandising deals? Is this through some in-game ads? So there are, let's say, many different possibilities that we are looking at the moment, and there are many different monetization streams that can be, let's say, reached with those kind of activations. And for the brand is definitely something, to go from this Web2 space into the Web3 space with the partners who did something already in this Web3 space, who have the community in Web3 space. So transition is more seamlessly in that regard. So
do you mean it's as important, really, as much as the profile of the IP is great for you? It's really having an open mind with how they exchange their sort of the other value they can bring with you.
Like Vincent mentioned, to transition, let's say, regular fans to Web3 space, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of education, needs to be done. So yeah, for us it's like step-by-step process, and it's not about, okay, we can get NBA and then we will all be flying, or we can get whatever, EuroLeague. It's not even about that, It's about finding the right partners who are willing, like you said, to do the step, to test the waters, because something is working at the moment and tomorrow it's not working anymore. This space is changing so quickly that it's, you need to have this kind of partners who are also patient and go with you step by step.
And Ty, interested for your perspective on, you don't have to name names here, but in terms of what rights holders do you think, what do they do well in this space? So the ones that have sort of jumped in with both feet, where have they got it right and where have they got it wrong?
Yeah, it's funny because I'm sitting and listening and I'm thinking about Yes Network, which was the Yankees Entertainment Sports Network, and they came out and created their own television channel, and was like, that was different. And then the Big Ten College Football Conference did it. And so I actually think a lot of the best executions are the ones that have a lot of leverage and are being very slow and very deliberate, and putting moats, and that may mean doing nothing, right? or like even a Liverpool, I think, has done a lot of different things. They were one of the earlier. They did a direct deal with SoRare, I believe, and obviously now that's going to roll into them doing a bigger deal with the Premier League. But I think it's, what is your fully owned and operated strategy, and then what are the partnerships that can supplement, rather than how can we monetize our rights in the super near future, because I think that can be a potential detriment to brand. And I think when we sit here, I say a lot, the iPhone came out, and for 3 years there was only 4 apps on the iPhone. A lot of people forget that. The App Store did not launch with the iPhone. So from the way that I think about it right now is, who's not really doing much publicly, but really trying to understand the investment that they need to make internally, from a developer, from a content, from a like non-sporting operations, because it's gonna just keep getting bigger. And not everyone has to be the Yankees or Manchester United, right? Spent time with a lady from Brentford, last night, and I think about that club and like, what does success look like? Right? Not every sport team starts the season and wants to win a championship. Not every club's full on every day is how do we maximize dollars. So I think, and I'm like, okay, how's Manchester United thinking about their players and the rights that they're getting? And when I don't see anything, I'm like, oh, that's because they're being slow and they're being patient, and they're thinking when those deals do come, or when it is we're releasing our own thing that we own, the direct relationship with the consumer, what does that look like? So that's what it, in a reverse to it, is like, I think a lot of the best executions are those that aren't actually doing much right now. Perfect. Because they're building.
Thank you, Ty. Are we at time? All right, well, thank you very much to Vince, Klemen, and Ty. And that was great. Feel free to come and speak to us afterwards.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.